With you, Shamima Begum, should she be coming back here?
She should not have had her citizenship revoked.
Really?
It's absolutely terrible. I mean, she is now a stateless person. So just a minute. If it had happened to me or one of my children, they would not have revoked the citizenship, because actually you can't revoke somebody's citizenship to make it stateless.
No, you can't, but
it's
that's
illegal.
not what Sajid Javid did, because she had Bangladeshi.
She didn't. She was born in Britain. She was a British citizen. It's utterly wrong that we treat somebody as though.
Even if they've got.
What you just heard there is exactly how this entire argument collapses. Not accountability, not national security, not even common sense, just excuses. Soft language, sympathy politics. While the rest of the country is asking one simple question. Why are we even debating bringing an ISIS recruit back to Britain in the first place? This isn't compassion, it's weakness. And the moment you start pretending terrorists are victims, you've already lost control of the country.
What I'm saying is it wouldn't have happened to my child.
Well, it's probably because you wouldn't have allowed them to go off and work for ISIS.
Nobody allowed her to do anything at 15.
She ran off, exactly.
She ran off. So there are two separate things. I think it is completely wrong that she was deprived of her citizenship, and two is that what she did at 15. She was basically groomed. We know that there was a Canadian person who was encouraging it. She was groomed online. She thought that she was going to something really nice and really good fun. There she was. She was bored. She was in East London. You know, it was horrible. And she thought this was something nice. She made a terrible, terrible mistake.
Yeah, she wasn't really regretful about it at all.
She was completely regretful.
No, she wasn't. When she was interviewed, she wasn't really bothered about potentially sewing things onto suicide vests. You know what I mean?
Well, and this is a current government that wants to lower the voting age to 16. So, you know, you can't have it both ways and say at the age of 15, she made a terrible mistake and, they can't think for themselves, these kids, and yet expect them to then vote in a national general election.
Charlie, she was groomed.
And whether or not that's the case, and that might be the case. But,
she was a 15-year-old who was groomed, and her two best friends were killed, and she has lost 3 babies. I think she's suffered enough.
And absolutely, groomed, OK, I mean, I'm happy to take that point, but if you are then indoctrinated, if you are brainwashed in some way, which makes you go, you still have the views of supporting ISIS.
She doesn't
and if you get up and leave the country to deliberately go to Syria, as the case was, to support IS, a fundamentalist terrorist organisation that wants to do us harm in the UK, it is absolutely right that you can have your citizenship stripped from the UK. It is right that the Home Secretary at the time did that, and it is absolutely right that this Labour Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, is standing by
the reason it's wrong is masses of ISIS men have come back quietly, and the whole reason she had her citizenship stripped was because a Times journalist found her, and there was absolute chaos, and it was completely political. It was because people were calling for her head. We've had ISIS people coming back, some of them have been jailed, some of them are there. I think it's completely and utterly wrong.
Well, Scarlett, you're a supporter of the institution of the Supreme Court.
And I disagree with I'm allowed to disagree.
But this has gone through, the Crown Court, the High Court, the British judicial system, and they've agreed with Sajid Javid's decision.
Well, I'm just explaining why I disagree, and I think it's really important that I'm allowed to disagree, even though, of course, I agree that we should have a Supreme Court, and I try.
Well, listen, would you not say that we've been very generous, because despite the fact that she's no longer a UK citizen, we've been funding all of this legal stuff for her. So the UK taxpayer, the British taxpayer, has been paying for all the legal aid that she's been receiving. But she's not even a citizen, and we're doing that. It's pretty good.
No, I think that, of course, she gets...
This is what's happening now. The question isn't safety anymore. It isn't the victims of ISIS. It is the British public. The entire conversation has quietly shifted her feelings, her rights, her legal aid. That's the trick. Responsibility disappears, consequences disappear, and suddenly the taxpayer is expected to foot the bill for someone who deliberately walked away from this country.
She can't represent herself. The question is whether she should have had her citizenship stripped. And I just think that it's terrible that if, your grandparents came from Bangladesh or Pakistan or India, that you're not considered a proper British citizen, whereas a child of mine, had they gone out to ISIS, they would not have had their citizenship stripped.
That she had two citizenships.
She didn't have two. She was never Bangladeshi, right? Her parents came from Bangladesh. She wasn't a Bangladesh person.
It can work that way if you've got parents in another country and you do something bad in this country.
But also,
that is fair enough, I think.
Totally, I absolutely agree with you. But the fundamental point, I think, also is that the Home Secretary, whoever is the Home Secretary, whether it's a Labour or Tory or any other Home Secretary, they have the right to remove an individual's citizenship. So we're debating Shamima Begum at the age of 15. This chap that's got the dual citizenship with Egypt, who made those abhorrent tweets, in his 30s, he should have his citizenship removed post-haste. But the idea that is for the UK Home Secretary, the idea that we've now got the ECHR and another foreign court getting involved to say, oh, hold on, UK, you need to look at it again, that is fundamentally wrong. It's our laws, it's our courts,
and
it's our politicians' decisions,
and
it is...
They're saying look at it again.
Which is wrong. They shouldn't be interfering in what UK Home Secretary, democratically elected politicians by the people of this country are making.
It does raise a question. I made this comment a little bit earlier this week. Under the Trade Descriptions Act, should we really be calling the Supreme Court the Supreme Court? If there's another court that sits above it that can overturn its decision. I mean, it's Supreme Courts are meant to be, final. Supreme.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, that's how it works in the United States, and yet we have the quote-unquote Supreme Court in the United Kingdom that can have its decisions overturned by the ECHR. What's super?
No, you made that argument yesterday. I agree with you. What's the point, Charlotte?
Because we have the ECHR and all they've said is, will you have another look? And absolutely justify it. And I am really... Because we are part of them. Because we are part of the ECHR.
They're unelected and...
we are part of the ECHR and we have British judges. And actually, Britain started it, right?
Yes, but
Britain started...
What? We started it. We've got.
We started it. We've got British judges. We're part of it.
Then in this country make a decision. Then seeing as we're so good at doing this, we shouldn't need another court to come over with lots of foreign judges who are totally unelected from a court that we don't really.
Yeah, and so luckily our judges are also unelected, and we joined the ECHR. We started the ECHR, and we're part of it. If we decide to leave, that's another matter.
Yes. Well, my point I'm making is that our politicians who have made decisions because of the information they've received, why should we then take advice from an unelected chamber of judges from a foreign...
Absolutely. And
it's ridiculous.
Totally right. And this is where things go far too far. Look, we were part of the, European Economic Community, which then grew into what was now the EU, which in that referendum voted to leave. It's now...
The whole country didn't...
the country decided.
Voted by a majority.
You're absolutely right.
I think the whole country did not.
The country voted to leave. You know what I mean? Apologies. Slight slip of the tongue on a New Year's Day. I do apologise, viewers, listeners. But, the country voted to leave the EU because that institution got far too big. The ECHR has become far too big, far too overreaching, totally undemocratic, and that is why, again, Labour Home Secretaries, like David Blunkett, has said that we should suspend our membership of it, whether it's temporarily or not. He still thinks there's a reason to suspend our membership of it. You've got Yvette Cooper, when she was the Home Secretary at the time, looking at getting us out of Article, I think, 8, which removes people's claim to have a right to a family life and claim to stay in the UK if we can't deport you. All of these things that have encroached on our democratic fundamental rights and values as a united kingdom. Lawmakers in this country overruled time and time again. That's why so many people are now calling to leave the ECHR.
Exactly. It's not as if we're going to become some unruly, sort of barbaric country if we leave it. Seeing as we made parts of it up, we can do it here on our own terms. Anyway, a Home Office spokesperson said...
This wasn't just an interview. This was a warning. Because what you watched wasn't a debate about law. It wasn't some technical legal dispute about citizenship paperwork. It was something much worse. A political class that still hasn't learned the lesson. You saw it. Every time the question got simple, they complicated it. Every time responsibility came up, they blurred it. Every time national security was mentioned, they softened it. You heard it. A groomed. A sympathy. A legal aid. Have another look. Always another excuse. But here's the reality they won't say out loud. She chose to leave. She chose ISIS. She chose an organization that beheaded hostages, enslaved women, and declared war on Britain. That wasn't confusion. That wasn't childhood naivety. That was a decision. And once you make that decision, you don't automatically get a return ticket funded by the same country you turned your back on. This is the pattern. Our courts get challenged. Our borders get questioned. Foreign judges get a say. And the British public gets ignored. Again and again. This is why trust is gone. Because normal people look at this and think, if joining ISIS doesn't permanently disqualify you from being British, then what does? You felt the hesitation. You saw the dodging. You watched them bend over backwards to justify the unjustifiable. And that's exactly why people are fed up. So let me leave you with this. Is this incompetence or cowardice? And would you honestly trust people like this to protect your country? If you want straight talk without the spin, hit like, subscribe, and turn the bell on.